How's it going? This is Thomas Otten, and this is a Porsche 914, and what we're going to show here is how to install these nasty things. These are the torsion bars, torsion rods for holding up the rear trunk lid, and they can be kind of tricky and intimidating to get these back on if they've ever been taken off, or if your hinges ever come off. The little plastic rollers degrade and fall off, and also you have trouble a lot of times with the hinges themselves breaking off. So I'm going to show how to replace these rollers, whether or not yours have been completely fallen off or not. It's a little tricky, but with just some common tools that you probably have in your mechanic's toolbox, I'll show an easy way to do that. So the rear lids of these cars are actually propped up by torsion rods. Here's one of those right here from another car. And the basic principle is one side is fastened down and the other one is used to prop your lid there. And it's got two of them, one for each side. And this principle is pretty simple. It's just hold it down, and now you can see how it's got the tension in there, or the twist, the torsion really. Porsches seem to love doing things with torsion rods and torsion bars, and that's how they solved the 914 issue on the rear. Instead of putting springs, they could have put springs, but it's just so little room right there in that area, right where the engine is, and in this area. They could have done that with springs, but then there's the battery and some other things there. So they decided to just run torsion rods along the back right there. The torsion rods don't usually fail. It's the little rollers, the plastic rollers fail, and also the pivots themselves will often corrode, and then also just being under the constant torsion, they'll cause the metal to fatigue there. So a lot of times those will have to be replaced. On this one, I'm just going to show how to replace the rollers on the torsion rods, and how to actually install new ones in two cases. One where you're just missing the roller, and the other where the torsion rod has completely come off because you had to replace your pivots. So here's a look at the tools that we need to do this. First of all is the 10 millimeter to get the torsion rod started up. Then we're going to use a breaker bar, which is just one of these half-inch socketed. It's really a ratchet. No, it's not a ratchet. It's a breaker bar with a half-inch head on it. And we take that out, and I put the little parts in there for safekeeping. Then we're going to use an Allen, and we want to use a fairly thick Allen. This is a 5.5 millimeter. Seems to work fine. And we want something that can do this, so that we can fit our torsion rod in there kind of somewhat tightly. Then I'm going to use a 13 millimeter and a 14 millimeter socket and a ratchet to put on the hinge. And then I do have a screwdriver just in case if I need to be able to remove the old nylon rollers. And that is just about all we need, and possibly a hammer. Sometimes the torsion rods need a little shifting, so we're just gonna hit them to one side or another. And for the parts, I have a pair of rear trunk hinge rollers, and that's the part number right there, and this is what they look like. Okay, so step one, of course, we have to remove the rear lid and just set it aside. Now we have some room to work here. Now we have two situations here. We have one where we simply want to remove the existing roller and replace it with a new one. And the other situation is where the roller is completely gone and the torsion bar is not even in the correct location. It's in the completely relaxed state back here. Okay, so now we're gonna just, the first one, we're gonna do the easy one, which is just the replacement of the existing one. So we're gonna take our breaker bar here and our Allen, and we wanna use a pretty substantial size Allen, or else they could break on you. And we want to lock it in on the second section of the torsion bar. And then we're just going to lift up slightly here. Once this starts to drop, we know we have this a little free. And so then we can just pop that one out. And now I'm just going to relax it back. And there, I've removed the old one. Now if you notice, these new ones are a slightly different design. And we're going to put the flat part towards the outboard section.
The difference is that the first version is the early version and the second one is for the 75, 76 cars.
So to install the new bushing, we're simply going to lift up on this one. Yep. And then just slide that bushing right in there. We're just going to lift up on it and slide the bushing right in. And there we go. And I'm just using my body here to hold the hinge up. I'm just lifting up a little. And then boom, just slide that right in there. And then you can relieve the tension. And you can remove your lock and your breaker bar. And there it is. $14mm, right? Yes.
And now we're going to do the case where your hinge is not being supported by the torsion rod. The slider will also need a 13mm.
Next, you will want to inspect your pivots and make sure that they are in good condition. A lot of times they rust here and they start to tear. If that's what's happening and then you put this under the torsion load, it's going to make this come off even quicker. So it's best to repair this if it has any signs of damage or corrosion. So the first step will be to simply get this into position to get our breaker bar into the locked position. So we're going to start out with the bracket not on the car, completely off. And we will take our 10 millimeter and we will lodge it down there about so far. We don't want it right up on the tip. We want it in there a little bit. Then we're going to pull this forward, and then at the same time that it's pulled forward past the edge right here, we're going to put this on it just below where the 10 millimeter is locked on there, and we're going to slide in the Allen to lock it in place. So I kind of have to use two hands and everything at the same time to do this, but I pull it in, I put the breaker bar there, and now I'm going to put there, I've locked it in. So as you see there, it is locked in position, and now I can remove the 10 millimeter. And you will notice that we are locked in on the first section there, before the bend. So the next step, what I'm going to do is I take my 10 millimeter, put it back on, and we're going to raise it up, and then I'm going to shove this down as far as I can, preferably to get it past the bend, but if we get it right on the bend, that's okay too. So we're just going to pull it up, push this down, and as you can see now, we're locked in right around where the bend is. So the next step, we've got to be a little coordinated. We've got our bracket, we've got the bolt for the pivot, and we have a little slider piece that goes on there too. We basically are going to bend this down and then shove this in here through this way, and then once this is on this side of the torsion, then we can put this in. So let me see if I can demonstrate that from up here. Put this in place. Actually, let's pull it. So we're opening it up. Now we're going to put this in place. We put the bracket on. The slider goes on. And now we just put the bolt in. And once that's in, we can relieve. Okay, so we're going to demonstrate that one more time. We have the hinge. We'll hold it right there. We've got the breaker bar right at about where the bend is. So let's go ahead and do that. Pull it up. Push this in. We've got the slider on. Now we're going to put the bolt on. Okay. Now we can take our little piece and just shove it on there and let it go. And let it go. Boom. Now we can come here and just remove, and that piece just comes right off. There we go. And now we can just put our, now that it's safe, we can put our nuts for this on. Put the slider.
And that will do it for this video. If you found this information useful, please help us out and give us a like on the video and subscribe. If you really found it useful, there's a link. You can buy me a coffee. And also, always interested in your comments. Until next time, tschüss.